Hi honeys, it's Michelle. I am here today to do a video about the records that I listened to as a child. I did a video that was the records that I like to listen to when I'm reading my books, and I had asked at the end of that video if you guys wanted to see a video showing what I listened to as a child, because I do have a children's record collection from my actual childhood. And then I had also asked if you wanted me to do a video with my holiday / Christmas vinyl collection, and enough of you said yes on both of them that I decided to do both videos. In this video I'm going to show you my childhood records, and then probably in the middle of November I will then do the holiday music one. Now I do have links to either the full record of each of these records or at least one song from each of them down in the description box. So if you want to give any of these a listen, feel free. I do want to give you the warning though that because these are children's songs and they have that high-pitched kitschy sound to them, they're kind of, well, let's just say it's really easy to get them stuck in your head. I have one of them stuck in my head right now after listening to these again. Hi. Zelda is here. You want to say hello, huh? You don't normally show up in the videos for the book channel. Okay. Oh. Okay, I'm setting you down. The first album that I have, and I don't think I picked this one out. The reason I say that is that I was born in 77, and this one was debuted in 78. And I know my dad loved listening to records, so I'm kind of wondering if him or one of my other family members maybe decided to buy this for a baby version of me in the hopes that I might love disco music, which I do in fact love disco music. If you saw my last video, I do have the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack. I think my mom gave that one to me, so maybe my mom bought this, I don't know. I just remember my dad being the one that listened to so many records when I was a little kid, but that doesn't mean my mom didn't buy records as well. But anyway, so this was 1978. I loved this record as a little girl. I loved dancing to it. As many of you have heard by now, I was a dancer for 15 years, and this is definitely one of the records that I danced to a lot. I used to make up my own little dances to to these songs. By the way, in case you're wondering about the change in scenery, was that one of your hairs that just flew up and hit my lip? Hmm? Maybe I'll angle you down a little bit so you can see her. There. I'm sitting in front of the wall because I wanted to be able to put imagery for some of these records up in the corner, and I just thought a nice blank background would be nice. But now that you see her sitting here, so this is I'm in my bedroom, and I'm sitting in front of the wall, and over here this is her bed. She's actually got, I'll show you this just for fun, I'll show you here. She's got a cat bed here, and it's got the memory foam, and then she's got this bed and this bed. Because as she gets older, we've noticed she seems to have arthritis. So we decided to give her a really plush, cozy princess bed. And then Marty's bed is like the one on top, but by itself. He doesn't have as much excessive padding as she does. Huh. Yeah. Okay. Up next, and I know I begged my mom to buy this for me. I remember, are you not coming back over here? I begged my mom to buy this one for me. It's Tim Noah, In Search of the Wow Wow Wibble Woggle Wazzy Woodle Woo. And I have since found out that he was a local performer to the Seattle area. So I don't know if you're a Gen Xer and you're the same age as me, you might not remember him if you're not from the Northwest or the Pacific Northwest. But this guy was just really fun. He would show up and perform in front of the kids at recess, or not recess. What was that called? He would show up and perform, though, in front of the whole school, an assembly kind of thing. He did go to my school multiple times. I was fortunate because I really loved his music. My favorite song of his, in case you're curious, was called I Can Do Anything. And it's funny because even now as an adult, when I find myself getting really overwhelmed with the world and what's going on, and can I keep going? Is my business doing okay? What about my YouTube pages? Should I keep making them? You know, that kind of stuff. We all get insecure sometimes. That song will come. I always think of that song. I can do anything, anything at all. And it's just, it's kind of neat that song has stuck with me all this time. So I hope Tim Noah knows how much he meant to kids. I mean, if I'm still thinking of his music now, that's pretty amazing, actually. So if you have kids and you want them to hear some positive, stop scratching my leg. If you have kids and you want them to listen to some nice, positive, funny, fun songs, I really do recommend him. Up next is the dashing Strawberry Shortcake's Exercise and Fun album. I used to love this album. I used to love listening to it and doing the little exercise that came along with it. This debuted in 1981. I did listen to quite a few parts of it earlier today, and what I will say is I don't think I like it now. The voice actress that did it has a really high-pitched voice, and it just drove me nuts. But I do remember loving it as a child, and what I remember was just how creative it was and the visuals that came along with it. I just remember being so excited picturing these things. There's the caterpillar and the butterfly, and you're supposed to imagine that you're one of a caterpillar and then a butterfly while you're exercising. And the bicycle upside down, I felt that way too. I just loved getting so into this record. Now, my favorite part of the exercise, though, was at the end. It was called The Bottom of the Sea, and you would imagine that you were a mermaid. What do you think? Then there is 1982's Miss Piggy's Aerobique. And I actually, this album is pretty funny. I mean, if you're looking for something amusing to listen to, you might want to just click on the link for this one and listen to it. It's pretty funny. She'll say, well, that was boring, or I hate exercising, or just all kinds of funny, cranky little Miss Piggy quotes throughout the whole thing. So I do recommend this one. It's pretty fun and enjoyable to listen to. And this one does actually have Frank Oz doing her voice as well. So that's pretty exciting. I gotta show you this. Look at Zelda. Did you get bored with me? Okay. We're going to leave her alone. She's very moody, just like me. That's where she gets it from. This was probably my favorite album as a child. It was Annie. This is, if I remember correctly, it's actually, now it's kind of weird trying to find it on YouTube. They have the songs on here, but they don't have the full album. If I remember correctly, it's the actual movie recorded onto vinyl. Like you can hear all the talking in between the songs and everything. That's how I remember it. Am I right? I don't know, because they don't have the full thing on there. I'd have to go listen to it, and I was in a little bit too much of a rush to do that when I was listening. But it's got this game here that you can play, this little game board. Of course, I've lost the information on the game board, so I don't know what the game is or how to play it, but how neat is that, right? It says that you can also color this storyboard with crayons. And you can remove it by gently rubbing it with a tissue. Huh. That's interesting. Then I've got the Cabbage Patch Kids. And if you are a Gen Xer, at least at the more of the tail end of Gen X, the Gen X generation, I'd be surprised if you didn't know of this album or own it yourself, because it was super popular. I mean, we all know the Cabbage Patch Kids were it when we were kids. It looks like I had quite a few favorite songs on here. As a kid, I used to put X's next to my favorite songs on albums. It looks like I loved 3 of the songs, which is actually pretty good. It says it was also available in cassette, and it came out in 1984. So if you had a Cabbage Patch Kid, tell me, what kind of Cabbage Patch Kid did you have? Like, what did it look like? I remember the story of my mom. She was trying to get me a Cabbage Patch Kid, and I think it was 1982, right? The year that they came out. It was so popular. And my brothers were both hockey players. And if I remember the story correctly, one of the moms worked at a department store and said that she was going to hold one of these dolls aside for me, which now that I hear this, or now that I think of it, it kind of sounds like the beginning scenes of Child's Play. But before Child's Play. Like, maybe that is where they got the story from. Maybe somebody heard the story about my Cabbage Patch Kid and decided to copy it or something. We don't know. But all that this lady could get was a preemie, which is funny because the preemies really hadn't come out yet. And so that year for Christmas, I got a preemie, and her name was Clarissa, and she is still in my family. I still have her. I've got other Cabbage Patch Kids as well, but she is my first Cabbage Patch Kid. And so when we went to show and tell at the next time, everybody else had the Cabbage Patch Kids that were bigger, that had hair, and I had this little preemie. And I remember feeling embarrassed about it, but now I don't know why it was. It was kind of cool that I had something nobody else had yet, but I guess I wanted to fit in as a child, which is very unlike me as a child. I don't remember. I seem to have been more of somebody who didn't care about fitting in at all. But anyway, so that's my story. I also got this album, which is a bit of a classic to me. It's the Cabbage Patch Kids Christmas album, and I love that image on the front. Look at that picture. Isn't that cute? See, this is the one I was trying to get, I think, was the redheaded, long-haired Cabbage Patch Kid, which I never did end up getting that one, by the way. Maybe I should get one now. Just because. But my favorite song on here was One More Dream Till Christmas, which, to me, even now, I could cry thinking about that song. It is so sweet and heartfelt, and I couldn't find it, which is bizarre. The only song I could find on here, in my opinion, is the worst one, and it's the Christmas Hoop-de-Doo song, which is the most nauseating child song I've probably ever heard in my life. I don't think any parent would ever want their kid to play it. The rest of the album is pretty good, but that one song is so heartfelt about this little girl and what she dreams of for Christmas. So, what, Marty? What is this? Cat? Why are my cats showing up all of a sudden? You guys never want to be in videos, and then I'm trying to sit on the floor and film, and you both have to show up and make a big production. Steal it. Steal all the attention. Don't you scratch. Do not scratch my records. We will have a problem, sir. Okay. Okay, okay. The next album was probably my other album that was just everything to me. Well, I probably had 3 albums that were super important as a child. The Orphan Annie one, and then this one. This one was from 1973. It was an RCA educational record, and on one side it had Peter Pan. No, do not scratch that. Hey, stop it. These are old. Like, you can't just scratch them. And on the other side, it had Alice in Wonderland. And as you can see, it is an old school library edition, or not edition, but it was from an old school library. This is one of those records. I loved it so much, and I didn't want to stop listening to it. And I don't think my mom could get me to let her take it back. So we ended up buying it from the library because I just couldn't part with it. I loved it. And if I remember correctly, it was the Disney version of these 2 movies just recorded right onto vinyl. So I could hear the whole story too while I was playing with my dolls and my stuffed animals and stuff. And I just loved this record. So much so that now when I tried to read Peter Pan, I didn't like it. And I bought Alice in Wonderland. Hopefully that book is a little better. I think it is, but we'll see. All right, and then the other album that I really loved as a little kid, my grandpa bought for me. It's the Muppet Movie album, and as you see there, when I was learning how to write my name, I wrote Michele on the front. And this album came out in 1979. And it was kind of neat because my grandpa and I both loved Kermit the Frog the most. He was both of our favorite Muppet. I still, as an adult now, I think all of us are one of the Muppets. There's quite a few Muppets, and there's a big array of different ones and their personalities and everything. And I really do think that pretty much every person I've met is one of them. So if you have a favorite Muppet, be sure to let me know who it is. And I don't think I'm like Kermit the Frog. I'm just saying he's my favorite. As a little girl, I thought Miss Piggy was so beautiful and I wanted to look like her. I don't know if I feel that way now, but it's funny, as my grandpa got older, he really did start to kind of move in that mechanical way like Kermit the Frog, and he had this body with these 2 skinny little legs that went down, and he reminded us of Kermit the Frog so much. He even almost sounded like him. It's weird how he really became more like his favorite Muppet over the years. Anyway, this album is spectacular. I have bought the DVD twice in my adult life, and now I have this album on my Spotify because I love listening to it, especially on a road trip. And then the next 3 albums I remember specifically. So I had got quite a few tapes in between the records I just showed you and the ones I'm about to show you. And my parents split up when I was 11, and my mom and I got an apartment, and I had, for whatever reason, decided I wanted records again. So I got 3 records, and then I guess I changed my mind and went back to tapes, because this is where my childhood collection of records ends. And then I started getting tapes and CDs and that kind of stuff. But what I picked out the day that my mom took me to get my albums was Gloria Estefan, Let It Loose. And I think my favorite song on here, well, actually, I don't know. I really liked all these songs. Probably The Rhythm Is Gonna Get You. I love that song. I think it's really good. And then I got Taylor Dayne. This one is Tell It to My Heart. I used to love dancing to the song Want Ads, but I think my favorite song on here is I'll Always Love You. And then the last one was the Cocktail soundtrack. And I remember I got this song because I really loved the song Kokomo by the Beach Boys. And I also really enjoyed the song Don't Worry, Be Happy by Bobby McFerrin, which was, I remember when I got this album, that was the #1 song. It was a huge hit that everybody was just in love with. I wish more people would listen to it now because there's a lot of grouchy pants walking around, I've noticed. Let me know what records you liked as a kid, if you're my age, or if you're younger or older. What did you like to listen to as a child? That's always really fun to hear. So please let me know, even if it's not stuff that I have in my collection. I want to know what you liked. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night. And don't forget, in the middle of November, I will be putting out the Christmas record collection video. I love you. Bye.